Good day everyone, my name is Hanifi Martinez from Bibed 3D and this is my activity. So, Bernstein learning stages. So, the learning occurs in 3 stages. Number 1 is freezing the limbs, number 2 is releasing the limbs, and number 3 is exploitation with the environment. So, let us first talk about what is freezing the limbs. So, Bernstein, 1967, proposed that the stage of learning influences how we solve the degrees of freedom problem and achieve coordination. He proposed that when we are first learning a new skill, the most effective solution will involve freezing degrees of freedom. To simplify the choice problem, freezing essentially involves reducing the number of potential movement solutions available. So, the first involves rigidly enforcing separate degrees of freedom by not moving specific joints or muscle. So, let's take a look at my example video to get a better understanding of what freezing the limbs is all about. As you can see in the video, I'm not very excellent at performing our knees and only my upper limbs are just moving. So the movements I make are simply physical limits or reduction in the freedom of my movement. So of course, as a beginner, we must first take the most basic step before acquiring new skills. So we are not experts in a skill instantly. So in my video, ginawa ko is hampas-hampas lang muna, and that is freezing the limbs. Is releasing the limbs as trainees become more comfortable with the basic movement pattern, so they are able to more effectively release the limitations imposed on the degree of freedom. So this makes the movement appear more flexible and gives them more control over the production of the movement pattern. So let's take a look at my example video to get a better idea of what causing the limbs to release. Compared to freezing the limbs, here I have executed another movement such as the lower extremities, where I have become more comfortable using the baton, and now I have the knowledge of what the correct or proper execution is for performing our knees. So I can perform the pattern effectively because I already determine what is right and wrong. So that is why I can release my movements in the upper and lower limbs very well, which helped me have successful outcomes whenever I use the baton. So for the purpose of exploiting the environment, here in the final stage of learning, the performer continues releasing degrees of freedom until all of the degrees of freedom required to complete the task have been released. Through this point, the performer is maximizing muscular efficiency through the use of the optimal number of degrees of freedom and is able to exploit environmental passive forces. At this point, the learners are considered experts. So let's take a look at the provided video to get a better understanding of how to exploit the environment. Compared to releasing the limbs, where you are comfortable with the movement you execute, here in exploiting the environment, the performer is considered as an expert. So the performer is considered an expert in exploiting the environment because if we can see, there is a right posture, right execution, and timing in motion. And because you are accustomed to the movement, you have a degree of freedom to perform it even in the presence of an environmental impediment. To sum it up, when we compare the 3 videos I presented, we can clearly see the difference for each of those stages. because there is an improvement, which is at first, I'm not an expert in using the baton in our knees. Just the basic steps only. Next, when it comes to releasing the limbs, I can execute the right movement pattern since my actions are no longer limited and I have more freedom in terms of degree to release. And finally, in terms of exploiting the environment, I am well trained enough so I was able to achieve a better performance in our knees. And that's all. Thank you.